So, we're going to talk about the Project One in this here video. So, Project One is introduced in Module 2, and it is about weighted averages. So, it's actually going to fall after Assignment 6B. So, it's really important that you do the homework for 6B, then you're ready for the project because you'll understand what this is about. So, the basic idea of the project is that you are going to calculate a weighted final grade for a course. All right, so this is the document that comes in. But before we jump into this document, I want to just explain the 5 things you see in our course. So the first document is what I just showed. This is going to spell out exactly what you need to do in this course. All right, there are 2 things to submit. The first is an Excel document. Now, I did post underneath a blank Excel workbook. So this is for you to open up and then you can put anything you want in it. All right, sometimes people have trouble finding Excel, so here it is. You also can use Google Sheets if that's better for you. That's fine, just email me so we can make sure we know what we're doing. This next item down, the gradebook student guide. This is a written step-by-step on how to do this project. So if you are better at like following directions by reading them and there's examples in there, that's great. Okay, so that's just a guide. It's just a helpful piece. Then there are 2 videos. These videos are going to help you with the Excel portion of the project. Okay, because I know not everybody is familiar with Excel or how to use things in Excel. And in this video, I'm not going to do a ton of that because I want us to understand the questions that we need to do with this project. So these 2 videos will help you set up the Excel document. Okay, so now we're going to go back and we're going to go through this this Word document that is going to tell us exactly what we need to do. So once again, you're going to turn in 2 things. You're going to turn in an Excel spreadsheet that has all of the calculations in it, and you're going to turn in a Word document where you're going to answer the questions that go with this. Okay, so the next part about this just talks about the objectives that we're going to hit in this project. Again, you're going to create an Excel spreadsheet. You're going to answer 5 questions. The Excel spreadsheet, again, those videos in the course are going to help you set it up. These are the directions to make sure that you have everything you need. But again, if you follow those videos, it'll walk you through step by step on how to create the spreadsheet. All right, now in order to talk about these questions, I am going to use just a very, very minimal spreadsheet here, okay? So first things first, I'm going to put in the sum formula. Actually, we'll do an average. Equals average, and then I'm going to highlight just so that you can see things later, okay? And we'll talk about this is the test. This is homework. Okay, so test. Again, all of these formula, what is happening? There we go. All of these formulas are going to be in that video that I sent. What is happening? Equals this number, age 8. There we go. Okay. All right. One more thing. This is going to just give you an idea. I know that I'm not talking through these formulas because they're not going to be exactly the same as what you're going to use, but you're going to use the formulas in those videos. It'll walk you through step by step. That way you can do everything, but it's going to be the same basic idea, okay? I want to make sure that we understand what is happening. For some reason, I'm clicking in the wrong buttons here. How did we get here? Oh, that's not what we want. Okay. All right. Now that we got something. Okay, let's go back and look at the questions. So the first part of this, you have to do the Excel part first because the Excel is what the questions are based off of. Now, if you don't get the Excel portion correct, it is impossible to get the questions correct. That puts a lot of pressure on the Excel document. After you finish the Excel piece, so you've created it, you put all your formulas in. If you send this to me, I can look at it in about 15 seconds and then send back to you, Yes, it's perfect. No, you have some issues. And if you have issues, I will tell you where they are. So make sure that if you send that to me, I will make sure that it's good to go. Because if I tell you, yes, your Excel project is perfect, then you know when you get into your questions, you are ready to roll. All right. So let's talk about these questions. Explain how you set up your Excel worksheet in Table 2. Oops, wrong button. What formulas did you use to arrive at your final? What final course grade was there? What's the grade? What's the percentage? All right, so the first question should be fairly easy, because if you create your Excel spreadsheet, you're just going to go to this and you're going to answer the questions about it. My final grade in this case is a 58% and it's an F. All right, whatever. So you're going to do that. These numbers have nothing to do with your project. So you're going to give me those answers, and you're going to talk about how you created these tables, how you created the columns and the rows and all of that fun stuff. Before I continue on, I do want to point out that at the bottom of this page is where the numbers are. You are all going to use the same numbers. You don't make up your own. You use these items, okay? So at the bottom of this spreadsheet is where the category weights are listed, the grading scale is listed, all of the categories and things for the course, okay? All right, so after question 1, and you're gonna type this up in complete sentences in the Word document. So you're gonna answer this in, 3, 4, 5 sentences. First paragraph is there. The second paragraph says, at the end of the semester, the instructor decides to drop a single 0 in the course for the student. Which score will be the most impactful? All right, so you're going to go in to your spreadsheet. Dropping a 0 means deleting it. Now, if I delete this 3, I know it's not a 0, but if I delete it, notice how this number changed, and my final grade changed. Okay, let me show you that again. Notice right now the average of my homework is 62 2/3. When I delete this 3, my average jumps to a 74. My homework average in column M jumps to a 74. It changes the quality points in column O, which changes our overall grade. This is why we use formulas, because it will trickle down and impact everything. So you're going to go through every column, and if there is a 0, you're going to delete it and see how it impacts it. Then you're going to put that 0 back, and you're going to go to the next column that has a 0, and you're going to delete it, and you're going to see how it impacts. And then you're going to put that back in, and you're going to go to the next column. So you're going to look at each category that has a 0. So the projects have a 0, the quizzes have a 0, and the homework. So you should be comparing these 3 categories after your Excel document is in. If I drop the 0 from the homework, how does that impact my final grade? If I drop the 0 from the project, how does that impact my final grade? If I drop the 0 from the quiz, how does that impact my final grade? After you have those 3 things done, then you compare. So you're going to put that in the sentence. The most impactful is if I drop it from, I don't know, the homework, because it changes my grade from a 58 to a 59 or whatever. Okay, you're going to use numbers. Remember, quantify your answers. All right, in number 3, the student already missed 4 homework assignments in the course. How many total homework assignments could the student have missed and keep their overall current grade? Missing an assignment means a 0. Okay, so when you see the homework now, you can see these zeros. The question is, how many of these homework grades would be 0 and my grade not change? All right, so you're going to go into your Excel document and say, well, what if I make this a 0? What if I make this a 0? So you're going to change homework grades to 0 and see how it impacts your overall grade. Okay, so maybe you say, well, oh, now I'm at a 48. That's too many. So you just go through until your grade drops, and then you say, nope, that's too many, and you go back. And now I say, okay, in this case, I could have 3 missed assignments and not change, right? Still in the 50s. That's the idea of that question. So missing an assignment means it's a 0. Number 4, given the student's final grade, what is the lowest possible score on the final exam that the student could have had to keep the same letter grade? Justify how you came to this. Again, we go back to our spreadsheet here. So you go to your exam 3 and you say, okay, well, I had a 56. What if I had a 50? And you see how it impacts your final grade. So you just change this until it drops to the next letter grade. That's the idea. And then once it drops, you're like, ooh, that rounds up to a 50. Okay, 44 is the lowest I can do, right? But you just keep plugging numbers in until it changes, okay? All right, let's go to the last one. We're going to say, what if in part A you fail every exam, but perfect score and everything else, or you fail all the assignments, have perfect score in every exam. 59 is the failing score. So there's a couple ways you can do this. One is to say, okay, in part A, what if I had a perfect on the assignment, but a 59 on the homework? What's that grade? Okay, great. Then you do the other one, 59 there, 100 there. What's that? And you compare them. Which one is better? Now, I only have 2 categories in my spreadsheet. You have 6, right? So you have to make sure that if it's exams, midterm and final will have the 100, everything else will be 59. If you failed the exams, they are 59 and everything else is 100. Okay, so make sure you're paying attention. All of these answers need to be in complete sentences. If you are struggling with what does something mean, let me know. I will not check your questions, like I won't pre-grade your questions, but remember, I will pre-grade your Excel. So if you want me to check your Excel to make sure your formulas and everything look good, email it to me and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And then if you have questions on, like you just need some clarification on the questions, let me know and I'll do my best to help. Hopefully you find that a little bit helpful. Again, there are other videos on the Excel portion of the project. Good luck and thanks.